What is happening in Myanmar has shown the true face of the country. At the same time in the US, dozens of tanks are guarding a mysterious facility in the desert. These are just some of the topics in today's episode. Stay until the end to see the strange newly discovered species off New Zealand and the mysterious anomaly that hit South Africa. Let's start. Underwater drone for the US military. A prototype of a new Stingray-like underwater drone is being tested by an American company. If the test proves successful, it may enter service in the Navy. It is developed by the Northrop Grumman Company as a part of a U.S. Department of Defense program called Manta Ray. The purpose of the machine is to perform time-consuming tasks on ships and submarines and to cover large areas with minimal human involvement. Most parameters are classified, of course. Neither the size of the drone nor its overall appearance is clear. In the officially released footage, the inscription "Approved for public display" is very clearly visible. However, the manufacturing company gives some information that it can carry payloads over long distances without maintenance or recharging. We believe it would be used more for spying. It can easily disguise itself as a real Stingray and monitor with his cameras and sensors. Could tensions in the Middle East lead to World War III? The world trembles to see what Israel's response will be after the direct attack by Iran. The strikes, if you recall, included over 300 drones as well as missiles aimed at military targets in the Jewish state, but were not particularly successful. Some say that this is just an Iranian demonstration to reassure its people and to show that the country has not remained indifferent to the attack on the Iranian embassy in Syria by Israel earlier this month. Others say Iran has tested its missile defenses and is preparing for something bigger. Donald Trump used the situation to warn that we have never been closer to World War III and, of course, to blame Joe Biden for doing nothing to prevent it. Let's hope that Israel will respond with diplomacy and that the tension will subside, because the region has been quite explosive lately anyway. Across Asia, after the attacks, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un said his country must be ready for war more than ever. What came out of Antarctica? A strange anomaly was detected by thousands of people on sites that monitor the movement of atmospheric masses and oceans through satellites. Between Antarctica and the west coast of South Africa, a large purple blob appeared all of a sudden. It is the size of Germany and France. The anomaly, as it was called, would mean freakishly large waves and a huge storm. They were heading north and should have reached Europe by mid-April. But the interesting thing is that suddenly the purple spot just disappeared from the map, as if they wanted to hide it. Even though the site seemed to delete it, powerful 15-meter waves and hurricane-force winds hit South Africa. They even blew a caravan off a bridge. The strongest storms were near Cape Town around 5 a.m. and were highly unusual for the region at that time. Many people initially identified the anomaly as a glitch on the site, but later, seeing what is happening on the African continent, they may have to change their minds. The strange purple blob was posted on TikTok and Reddit before the site deleted its development, which fueled suspicions. Some have even commented that it could be something underwater that moves slowly. The question remains what large-scale thing the satellites detected and why it suddenly disappeared from the site so abruptly. If it was just Gaelic, there would hardly be such large-scale storms. Give your opinion below in the comments. Jeans are harmful to the environment. According to Chinese scientists from Guangdong University of Technology, wearing jeans is harmful to the environment and contributes to global warming. Putting on a pair of fashionable jeans even once created 2.5 kilograms of harmful emissions, and wearing them was equivalent to more than 6 miles traveled with a car. In fact, the report attacks so-called fast fashion. This is when people buy something cheap just because it's trendy, wear it once or twice, and then throw it away to move on to new fashion items. It is expected that by 2030, the fast fashion industry feeding the consumer society will release 2.8 billion tons of greenhouse gases each year. Although the researchers give a positive assessment of traditional fashion, where clothes and shoes are made of quality materials and can be worn for a long time, they still advise buying secondhand clothes and not living a consumerist life. 100 new marine species discovered off New Zealand. The world keeps showing us that we barely know it, especially since biologists discovered 100 new species about a month ago, and in just one expedition. The focus of their research was the Bounty Basin, which turns out to have never been explored until now. The area is quite large, with a length of 500 miles and a depth of nearly 3.5 miles. It is located off the South Island of New Zealand. The discoveries were made possible thanks to the special research vessel and equipment on board, such as deep-sea cameras that can withstand enormous pressure. The scientists collected 1,800 samples in just 3 weeks. And among them are some truly strange inhabitants that science is encountering for the first time, such as a newly discovered species of eel. However, the most important discovery is considered to be a coral, which turns out to be a representative of separate groups of polyps. Dozens of unknown species of mollusks, 3 species of fish, 1 species of shrimp, and 1 species of cephalopod were also found. The optical discs are back. The Chinese have created a revolutionary new optical technology that can revive our favorite CDs. The new drives are with the footprint of the old ones, but instead of 700 megabytes, they can store an astonishing 125 terabytes of data. This has been achieved through the application of nanotechnology and a pioneering 3D architecture. The discs are double-sided with 100 layers on each side, but are as thick as conventional ones because their layers are only a micrometer apart. This makes it possible to build data centers at the level of an exabyte, significantly reducing the space for the massive infrastructure required for data centers today. And the most impressive, the life of the new discs is up to 100 years. They keep something strange in the US. Dozens of videos have popped up online pointing to a strange object in Death Valley in the California desert, shaped like a lake or some type of portal or UFO. It is quite large, about 104 meters long, and looks like a water reservoir, because a boat can be seen next to it. However, there is definitely something strange. Dozens of tanks are located around the site, which seem to guard it, and 2 kilometers south there is even a military base. Another strange coincidence is that to the northeast is the mysterious Area 51. People are wondering what the authorities are guarding there, and if the site is really a reservoir, as some have suggested. The uncertainty surrounding the whole thing has given rise to lively discussions on the web, and even conspiracy theories. According to some, this is some type of portal that is heavily guarded, as civilian access is absolutely prohibited. Reasonable people assume the facility is for farming, and the tanks are just training targets at a nearby military base. Feel free to share if you have more information in the comments if you have. The internet will become millions of times faster. Researchers from Aston University in Great Britain sent data at a speed of 301 terabytes per second, which is equivalent to about 301,000 gigabytes per second. Tell me in the comments how fast is your internet at home. I'm asking you because the new technology will enable about 4.5 million times faster internet than the average speeds we get. The revolutionary data transfer speed is the fastest in the history of the internet, and it was achieved thanks to a trick. We were failing to use fiber optic cables to their full potential. We enjoyed only 5 to 10% of their capabilities. Thanks to Dr. Ian Phillips, his team invented special amplifiers that transmit information through light with new wave frequencies. Through them, even the already built infrastructure can be used, and it will not be necessary to build a new one. Although it sounds complicated, the technology can also be implemented for end users, and thus make the home internet 1,000 times faster, without exaggerating at all. A 100 gigabyte game, for example, will download in less than a second. Scary footage from Myanmar. These creepy shots have shocked the world once again. And this is not some zombie movie, but a regular occurrence in Myanmar. On your screens, we see people rushing and fighting for every piece of waste from the jade mines, because very often companies miss out on small amounts of the precious stone. Myanmar has the largest deposits of jade in the world, and annual profits from its mining are several $billion. When a truck unloads, dozens of people rush to dig through the dirt in hopes of providing sustenance for their families. They pick up fragments that they later sell for a few bucks. Even though it seems like harmless rummaging, people very often lose their lives in landslides. More recently, 33 people died in a horrific accident as trucks simply dumped the rock waste down a slope, where dozens of workers pounced on the piles at the foot. However, a huge mass suddenly came down and swept them away. It's not clear why the mines even let people in like that. Dubai was underwater. Downright unreal sights are coming from Dubai after the amount of rain fell in just one day is equal as the one for the whole year. It is a crisis never seen before, and people think that the massive cloud seeding is responsible. The unprecedented floods in the otherwise desert Dubai left the streets underwater. Cars were rocking like boats, and their airport looked downright scary, like a lake, and stopped working for a while. Streets literally turned into rivers and blocked thousands on major highways. Schools will not open for at least 2 or 3 days, and shopping malls remain under a foot of water. Some people from Dubai took advantage of the situation and had their jet skis on the streets. There was real chaos, although they officially deny that the storm was caused by cloud seeding. Some agencies report that they have made it stronger. In neighboring countries, more than 100 people died in the floods, with locals commenting that they had not seen anything like this for decades. We have to admit that camels in a flood is a really rare sight. The Taliban patrol with roller skates. An interesting method of transportation has been chosen by the Taliban military to patrol the streets of Kabul in Afghanistan. Soldiers are holding onto jeeps and other combat vehicles, then drop out and rush around the cars, armed with assault rifles. I wonder how they handle the bad roads at these speeds, but they are clearly trained and brave. Even at the beginning, analysts reported that the videos were fake, but the Telegraph confirmed that they were authentic. It's not the first time we've seen law enforcement officers on rollerblades chasing criminals, but I've never seen the military. Thumbs up if you liked the video, subscribe for more, and see you soon.